Welcome to our California Real Estate Exam Prep video series. We'll give you 20 daily practice questions for the next 100 days with detailed answers to help you pass the exam and get your license. If you like our videos, please like and subscribe. Let's start now. 1. A real estate sales contract for the purchase of real property wherein the buyer's performance is conditioned upon the buyer first being able to arrange a specified lease is considered to be A. A unilateral contract because it requires an act for a promise. B. A conditional but enforceable contract. C. Illusory, indefinite and unenforceable. D. Unenforceable due to the fact that it violates the statute of limitations. Answer: B. A real estate sales contract may be made conditional on anything agreeable to the parties, which could include a requirement that the buyer be able to obtain satisfactory leases. 2. Which of the following would be an illustration of the government's police power? A. The creation of restrictive conditions by the original subdivider. B. Eminent domain proceedings against property in the path of a proposed freeway. C. Adjudication of conflicting claims between present and former owners of a parcel of real property. D. The enactment of zoning laws limiting the use which may be made of a parcel of real property. Answer: D. Zoning regulations are one of the most common examples of the government's police power. 3. RESPA requires delivery of the Uniform Settlement Statement not later than A. 10 calendar days after the loan commitment is made. B. 3 business days prior to the close of the transaction. C. 1 calendar day prior to the close of the transaction. D. At or before the date of settlement. Answer: D. Upon request, the lender must allow the borrower to inspect the Uniform Settlement Statement 1 day prior to the close of the transaction, but the statement must be delivered at or before the settlement. 4. In which of the following ways may an agency relationship not be created? A. Verbal authority. B. Necessity or emergency. C. Post hoc ratification. D. Subornation. Answer: D. Subornation means lie, trickery, or deceit, hence, it cannot be a valid way to create an agency. 5. When a salesperson takes a listing which does not authorize the listing broker to accept a deposit from an offeror toward purchase of the property, the broker should advise his salesperson that A. The broker will not be able to accept a deposit from an offeror. B. It is an implied right of a broker to accept a deposit in behalf of the seller on any offer. C. A deposit will be accepted and retained by the broker from the offeror, but only as agent for the offeror. D. None of the above. Answer: C. When the listing does not authorize the broker to receive a deposit for the seller, he becomes the buyer's agent in the receipt and holding of the deposit. 6. The owner of a single-family residence plans to sell and wants to obtain an FHA appraisal to permit a sale with FHA financing. He should A. Contact the nearest FHA office for an appraisal of this property. B. Have a lender apply for a firm commitment. C. Have a lender apply for a conditional commitment. D. Submit a recent appraisal of his home to FHA. Answer: C. The recommended process is for the lender to contact FHA for a conditional commitment, that is, for advance assurance that an FHA loan will be made, establishing the loan value for the house. Seven. Private property restrictions on real property are usually enforced by A. A judgment. B. An injunction. C. An indictment. D. A desist and refrain order. Answer: B. A civil suit could be brought, seeking a court order, ordering the person to stop the violation. 8. When an agent has sold a single-family residence and is helping the buyer obtain a first trust deed loan from a bank and a second trust deed loan to be carried back by the seller, the agent will often record a request for notice of default. Such action is usually taken for the protection of the A. Trustor on the bank loan. B. Trustee of the bank loan. C. Trustee of the seller's carryback loan. D. Beneficiary of the second loan. Answer: D. The request for notice of default would be important to the second lender, for it would allow him to be aware of the potential foreclosure on the senior loan. 9. For appraising purposes, when making adjustments in the direct comparison analysis. A. Any differences in the subject property are adjusted to the market norm. B. Comparable are adjusted to the market norm. C. Comparables are adjusted to the characteristics of the subject property. D. Subject property is adjusted to the standards set by the comparables. Answer: C. The sales price of comparable property is adjusted upward or downward to reflect the differing characteristics of the subject property, the property being appraised. 10. When a purchaser under a land contract is paying the seller impounds for taxes and insurance, those payments may not be disbursed for any other purpose without the consent of the A. Trustee. B. Holder in due course. C. Seller. D. Payer. Answer: D. The one paying the impounds, the payer, is the only one who can authorize a different expenditure of those funds. 11. All of the following may be considered deferred payment contracts, except A. A land contract of sale. B. A conditional sales contract. C. An installment sales contract. D. A home purchase using VA financing. Answer: D. Answers A, B, and C all relate to a contract in which title is to be conveyed following the fulfillment of certain conditions. In VA financing, the borrower already has title. 12. A real property sales contract, when recorded, offers A. Some advantages to the seller. B. Assurance that the buyer will receive good title upon payment in full. C. An advantage to the buyer if he does not occupy the property. D. It cannot be recorded without permission of the seller. Answer, C. The recording of the contract protects the buyer by giving constructive notice of his rights in the property. Two contracts that are often used in the field of real estate are the option and the contract of sale. When these two contracts are compared, the distinguishing characteristic of the option would be its A. Mutuality of contract. B. Irrevocability. C. Lack of mutuality of obligation. D. None of the above. Answer, C. In an option, there is no mutuality of obligation, that is, the optioner is obligated to sell if the term of the option are met, the optionee, buyer, is not obligated to buy. If a farmer sold 3 1-acre parcels from a 9-acre parcel within 1 year, the farmer would have to comply with A. The Subdivision Map Act. B. The Real Estate Law. C. Both A and B. D. Neither A nor B. Answer, A. The Subdivision Map Act requires compliance whenever 2 or more parcels are created. Comstock has a fee simple estate and transfers possession for a term less than his fee simple estate. The grantor has A. A vested sufferance. B. And estate in remainder. C. And estate in reversion. D. A lease. Answer, C. Possession will revert to Comstock at the end of the term, hence, he holds an estate in reversion. Abel and Baker enter into an oral agreement whereby Abel sold Baker Parcel Z in exchange for $40,000 cash. No contract was written up, but Baker recorded the deed. Sometime later, Baker sought rescission of the contract, asserting the transfer of the title was barred in this situation because of the Statute of Frauds, which mandates a writing. The likely result is that A. Once a deed is recorded, it is no longer voidable. B. The Statute of Fraud requirements were met by the recording of deed. C. The Statute of Frauds requires a writing for the transfer of land. Since there was no writing here, the contract is voidable. D. Since there was no contract, the entire transaction is void. Answer, B. The receipt of the deed in exchange for the purchase price would make the fact that the contract was not in writing no longer relevant to the case. A promise by a lender to make a long-term loan on real estate when the borrower demands it is known as A. A standby loan commitment. B. An interim loan commitment. C. A backup loan commitment. D. An incremental loan commitment. Answer, A. By definition. If you wanted to find out if there was a lien on personal property, you would contact the A. Office of the County Recorder. B. Office of the Secretary of State. C. Title Company Office. D. Both A and B. Answer, D. Liens on personal property could be recorded both at the County Recorder and the Office of the Secretary of State. The latter would be the place to file the financing statement under the Uniform Commercial Code. If a real estate broker, as an agent, does not follow the lawful instructions of his principal, he a. is liable to his principal for damages. B. is subject to a fine or imprisonment. C. could lose his license in a court of competent jurisdiction. D. any of the above. Answer A. The principal could sue the agent if he is damaged by the lack of the agent's obedience to his instructions. The real estate commissioner would be the one who would suspend or revoke his license, not a court. An appraiser's primary concern when analyzing residential property is A. marketability and acceptability. B. functional utility. C. operating and fixed expenses. D. square foot area. Answer A. Marketability and acceptability are both important in appraising residential property, since they would influence the value. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing to our channel so you don't miss out on our future videos. We look forward to seeing you in the next one.